Hello and welcome. My name is Deborethwin Arbenlow, and I'm a blogger and photographer for Second Life. Today I'm going to do a tutorial that was requested for how to apply the Tableau Vivant hair bases and hair bases in general for mesh heads. So when we're talking about applying a hair base for a mesh head, this may be something that someone who's new to mesh heads needs to know, or even just someone who's new to Second Life. So when it comes to this, a lot of what you need to do has more to do with the head itself and the HUD that goes with the head than the actual hair base that you're trying to apply to it. But essentially, you're going to have a hair base HUD and your head HUD that you're going to need to use to work on this. So we're starting with the Catwa head, which I'm wearing Catwa. I've put back on the default hair base, so this is what you would see if you had just started out with your Catwa head, or if you never changed the head from the original hair base. In the default master HUD, when you click on it, under the info mouth hair part, you can see here where it has like the default Catwa hair bases, and you can see up here where it says apply changes to lower or upper. What that means is there is two options for you to apply your hair base to. So you by default want to apply it to your lower hair base, but if you wanted to make your hair base look thicker or change, like combine more than one color or something, you could apply to both. So we're going to have it apply to the lower hairline, the lower hair base, which is where this one is, this default one. You can see if I clear it, then I have no hair base at all. So this is the default hair base that's on the lower layer. And then here, this blend thing will just make the opacity on this reduce, which you pretty much never want to use on your hair base because that can cause clashing issues with the hairs that you wear. So we've started with this, and we're going to just apply a Catwa hair base. This particular ones are from Tableau Vivant, which I hopefully am saying correctly. And you can see that there's these instructions. It tells you where it applies to. It tells you if there's any troubleshooting. So if you have any other questions, you should look at the note cards. I know people rarely read the note cards, but I always suggest it. Alright, so to start, what I'm going to do is I've already opened the hair base, and I'm just going to click the hair base, right click, and I'm going to click add, because I don't want to accidentally remove anything. This particular hair base comes with different options, so you're going to choose whichever one closely represents your hair. Typically I choose like white or gray hair bases so that I can tint them myself. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. So I want to apply it to the lower hair base. And you can see, because of the type of hair base that this is, it did remove my blush. So if you aren't sure where a hair base applies to, make sure you know what you're wearing on your face. So this particular one, because it goes down on the forehead, does apply to more than one layer. Not every hair base does, some just apply to the hair base layer. So that's something you have to keep in mind when you're talking about hair bases. So here we've got the hair base, and actually this one's cute enough that really you could probably wear it by itself if you wanted to. It's practically like its own hairstyle. So for this case, we want to maybe tint the hair base as well. So we've already applied it. We don't need to do any more for that. But if we wanted to tint it in the Catwa HUD, you're going to go into this Alpha Lashes Tint Next Size tab. So all you do is click it. So we start from this, we click that, we go to this tab. Alright, so here in the HUD, this is the one here that controls the hair base. Because this particular hair base covers more than one area, we will have to color more than one area. So let's just say we want to turn this into like a nude color like this one, right? So you can see it's only applying to part of it. Alright, so let's go back to white. Okay, so make sure you've selected the lower hair base. This is the upper side and the lower side. So you're going to select the lower hair base, and then you're going to click inside of here and you want to change your color on the slider by clicking and dragging to whatever sort of color range you want. So I want to be sort of in the red range, and then I'm going to move this around, and as you can see, as I move it down, it gets more vibrant. As I move it up, it gets less saturated, right? So I want something that's light and slightly saturated, maybe less red, maybe more yellow. So you can see it's becoming sort of a sandy blonde base color. So if I want to save that down here, I can click one of these little black buttons and it'll save that color. Now that's helpful for me when I have multiple layers on, because I also need to apply this to another layer. So I believe that this is on the blush layer, so I'm going to select the blush layer. That's this one, the lower blush. Then I'm going to click that again. So now you see both sections have turned that color. And you can do that with any color you want. If you want to turn it black, you can turn it black by clicking both sections and clicking and turning it black. Now, of course, there's a black hair base, so you don't actually have to do that. But whatever color you particularly want, so even if you want it to be bright green, it can be bright green. So now I've got bright green selected. I'm going to click this. I want to get another bright green. You see the problem here? If you don't save your color, is you have to find that same color again. So that's kind of annoying, which you can do. Like, this matches pretty well, but easier if you click the save button down here. So very simple. If you have a hair base that covers more than one area, just know that that exists. Now, if you wanted to apply blush on top of having a hair base, you could also click your upper layer and then apply a blush to it. So that will apply a blush. That's why there's multiple layers. So even if your blush got erased by applying a hair base that goes down further under your forehead, you can still apply a blush on the upper layer so that you don't have to worry about not being able to apply one thing or the other. So that's one of the benefits of the Catwa heads, is you can apply different things on your head, multiple layers. So I can wear blush and a hair base in the blush area. Just make sure you don't apply your blush on the lower layer, because it will take away that headband. And then we'd have to click it back. Lower layer. So you can see where we're going with this. And now when you apply the hair base again, it will remove the color. So keep that in mind, but not very difficult on the Catwa head to apply a hair base that's designed for Catwa. If it was Omega, you would need an additional Omega system relay HUD. So luckily, the Tableau Vivants are made for Catwa in particular. Now, if you wanted to remove it, you could hit clear, clear lower, and it would remove it for you. If you wanted to save it, you could click it, hit lower, and you could save it here. You see I'm in the hair thing. You can see the hair thing, hair base. If I click save, it will save that hair base in that section. And then, of course, because it also touches the blush layer, you'd have to save it into your blush layer as well by clicking save. So that's a very basic tutorial for the Catwa. And we are going to next do the genus and then the Leluca, but I will do them in separate videos so that you don't have to watch the same video for all of the different heads.